Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of the Soul Extract, where this is a podcast about everything that's got to do with wellness, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, where we just tap into your infinite power and your potential to be the best version of yourself, of your true self, your soul. Hi, my name is Ndalo, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for those that have shown support throughout my journey, especially with my weekly Ndalo by Ndalo series. And thank you for the new guys that will come on and join me here on this journey as we explore life and everything that life has to offer. So this is my series that I'm working on now that I'll be delivering to you. The first episode that I had was about shifting your identity. And in doing that episode, I realized that actually there's a foundational video that I was meant to do first. But I mean, hey, the universe, God does what he wants to do. And let's hope that this message also lands with you. But today's message that I want to talk about today is, who are you really? Like, do you really know yourself? And basically how to connect and how to have a relationship with yourself. So that's so before you know how to have a relationship with anyone else and all of that. And in order to step into your confidence and to shift your identity, do you even have a relationship with yourself? Do you even know who you are really? So before we get into the nitty-gritty of that, I just wanted to lay down the ground of how we get to a point of trying to understand who we are. So basically, everyone comes into this earth. Everyone that is born of a mother and a father comes to the earth with generational trauma. Now, this generational trauma or generational curses are what have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And these can be good, but also there's a part of it that also can be bad in terms of what has been passed down. And these are thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, patterns, cycles that have been passed down as normal, or that have been passed down from generation to generations, as a way of identifying themselves. And then what happens is that the people, you as a child growing up, you are seeing everything that's happening around you, whether it's your caregivers, like your parents, your aunts and uncles, your school teachers, your older siblings, your older cousins, the society at large, where they will impose these beliefs and behaviors upon you to such an extent where you start doubting, where you grow up doubting your worth, doubting yourself and your capabilities and who you are as a person. And we know we have to come to realize that all these things have been passed down. All these things are being done unintentionally. Parents, older siblings, whoever doesn't do what they do with the intention of hurting you. I mean, there are cases. Of course there are cases. I'm not gonna put that aside. But in the general scope and the general evaluation of things is that when someone does something, it's not because their intention is to hurt you. So we grow up with these things where now this kind of defines our core beliefs, or makes up our core beliefs. And what are core beliefs? Core beliefs are what you believe about yourself, how you perceive the world, and how you engage with the world. And it's basically how you actually even show up in this world. It's what you believe about society and the world around you. And obviously that will impact how you interact, how you engage with it. And in some instances, how you judge and how you perceive the world around you. And this includes a multitude of different things. Just look at every single area of your life. Anything from where you live, what you eat, why you eat what you eat, what you watch on TV, politics, the style of clothes that you wear, all of it is centered around your core beliefs and what you believe about that thing that you are partaking in or that you are doing. And because of all of this, you develop coping mechanisms, mechanisms that help you to interact relationally with everyone around you. So because of these core beliefs, and then what happens is that you would have core wounds from these beliefs, but that's a topic for another day. I mean, there's plenty of time. But in terms of your core beliefs, it's now when then you, because of how you were treated or how you perceived to have been treated badly, as I said, perceived, everyone is doing the best that they can. Most everyone is doing the best that they can. What then happens is that you develop a coping mechanism, and which is known as an attachment style. So basically, an attachment style is how you engage or how you interact with everyone that's around you. So there are insecure attachment styles that are in every single person. It could be a mixture of all. It could be one. It could be one main one. It could be a dabble. You're dabbling in this one and dabbling in that one. It could be anything. But basically, these are your coping mechanisms of how now you perceive the world and how you show up in the world and how then you perceive yourself, in terms of how everyone is interacting with you. So the three main insecure attachment styles are the anxious preoccupied, or anxious attachment. There's the fearful avoidant, and then there is the avoidant attachment style. So, and then the fourth one. So they have four attachment styles. The fourth one is a secure one. But basically, these three is what everyone, unfortunately, are not born into, but find ways of coping with the world, with what has been handed to them and their perception of what has been handed to them. I'm not an expert in these topics. I mean, in these three attachment styles, there's plenty of things that you can find online. I particularly love a lady called Heidi Preib, Heidi Heidi, and then his name is Preib. She is so on point. She's so clean in how she describes it. Like it's almost like there's a click that happens in your head. So that's how I like to learn, and basically that's how I've learned about these styles and how they actually have influenced how I show up in the world. So I am more of the fearful avoidant. So I have a mixture of both. I have both some anxious stuff, and then I've also got some avoidant stuff. So these are things that I'm working through in myself in terms of my attachment style. But I'd like to call myself a recovering fearful avoidant. Yeah. Anyway, so basically around 2019 is when I started my conscious healing journey. And basically I'd come to a point where I was asking myself, like, who was I? I was feeling lost. Because I was starting to feel and think that my way of living, my way of thinking, my way of being was no longer working for me. I didn't feel like I was me. I felt like I was just walking around with masks, and basically, yeah, it was just me feeling that what the beliefs, the thoughts, the behaviors, the patterns that I'm seeing in my life that are not working for me are really not working for me. So then if this is not who I am and this is not working for me, then who am I? And yeah, I just started realizing that I'm actually not living as me. I'm not showing up as me. And I knew that this was actually making me feel tired. It was actually making me feel lethargic about the status quo, and that I just want different for my life and not feel depleted and defeated by what is constantly showing up. Because then what would happen is that you'd get these patterns that keep repeating in your life, and you start to pick up on these patterns, and you're like, no, man. Something is not make sure. Something is not 1 + 1, So that's when you start to like unpack and be like, actually, who am I? Who am I as a person? Do I even know who I am, what I like, who I am as a whole human being on this planet. So basically, I want to then give you some few tips in terms of how you can meet yourself and how you can have a connection with yourself. And yeah, just going about figuring out who you are. It does feel like a daunting task because I mean, people will feel like, yeah, I do know myself. Like, what is she talking about? Like, I do know who I am. But once you get to a point of questioning yourself, I think that's when the real work actually starts to finally sit down with yourself and actually really get to know yourself. Okay, so the first thing that that you would need to do in terms of meeting yourself and connecting with yourself is understanding and unpacking these core beliefs. It's about investing time and reframing your mind and rewiring your brain in order to change these perceptions that you have. And I know from personal experience that this is such a daunting task. I mean, I feel it sometimes. I feel it most of the time. I feel it most of the time, but I know that it's something that's going to be helpful for me, especially if I don't want to keep repeating the patterns that have been evident and showing up in my life. And basically, it's about looking at every single area of your life. And it might be helpful to actually start writing, like in a notebook, in a journal, whatever. Just start writing, like, what are my core beliefs? And look at the different areas in your life. Look at love. Look at your health. Look at career. Look at money. Look at friendships. Look at family structure. Look at society. What are your beliefs about each and every single one of these areas? And write it down. I mean, if you have a more creative way of expressing yourself, whether it's through voice notes or whatever other creative means that you find to be able to express this, then please go ahead and do that. But for me, I find that writing works because, I mean, I have stacks and stacks of journals. So what I like doing is I'll be like, actually, this problem that I'm going through now seems very similar to something I went through in June 2019. Let me look at my journal in June 2019 and see what exactly was happening here, or whatever the case is, whatever the year is or whatever. But you know that you went through something, and it's just about going back and referencing and seeing the growth, seeing where the patterns are still the same, seeing where you've changed, and yeah, moving from that. Yeah, so basically when it comes to unpacking and understanding your core beliefs is, what are my core beliefs around this specific topic? What do I believe it means about me? What does this belief say about me? Where does it come from? So I'm just going to use a simple example from my life. So I grew up being called Ivila. Okay, so Ivila is a lazy person, basically. Black people of color, like, this is coming when you have a black mother or mother of color that is like, and then, So yeah, I grew up with this thing of being called Ivila, and basically the core belief of that, and this is a society at large core belief, is the belief that the good girl conditioning, like, you have to be a good girl in order to make it in life, or you have to be a good girl in order to fit in and to belong. If you're not a good girl, then you're not going to get all the good things. The other thing around this is that if you don't know how to clean or cook or whatever, then you're not going to get love. You're not going to get a good partner or good husband. And basically at the core of that, or you're not going to get someone who wants to marry you. And at the core of that, yes, that is the belief, but at the core of that belief is the unworthiness, is feeling unworthy, or at the core, I'm unworthy of love, or I'm unworthy of being chosen, which means that I'm not good enough. So I'm not good enough if I don't know how to cook and clean, I'm not good enough to land a partner. So how I've reframed that in my life, I mean, I still have my lazy days, Mom. I still have my lazy days. And all my aunts, They were always like, hey, Ndalo is so lazy. I still have my lazy days, but I know that when I have these lazy days now, it's not about making myself feel bad or punishing myself saying, oh, you don't deserve a man, or you're not gonna get married, or whatever the case is. For me now, how I've reframed it in terms of cleaning is, okay, I can clean, I will clean, I like my space clean, but I had to reframe it to Guti, you know what, I like my space clean because it gives me peace of mind, because it helps me to think clearer. When my space is clear, my head is clear. So when I don't have things lying around, when my place is a mess or whatever, I know that when my place is a mess, my head is definitely a mess, or vice versa. When my head is full of thoughts and I'm just like overthinking and I'm all over the place, usually that will coincide with a messy place. So then how to manage that is, for me, I'm like, okay, yes, I don't clean because I want to be a good girl. I clean because I want to have a space that I know I can breathe, I can relax, I can feel like, yes, I love myself, I respect myself, and I love my space. So that's how I've reframed that core belief, or changed. So there's different ways that you can do it, But yeah, that is how I've reframed the whole villa thing and the core belief around being a good girl and not being worthy of love because you don't cook or clean. So yeah, so it could be that. So that's the one way that you can do it, in terms of just looking at your life expansively, getting a journal out and just starting to free flow in terms of your writing. The other thing that this way can happen, or these core beliefs can be unpacked, is through situational circumstances. So it's through the going of life, when life is lifing. When life is lifing, things will be happening, and this way as well, then it becomes like more manageable and more bite-sizey, instead of feeling like, it's just this big elephant that you can't like sort of chunk up into pieces. And basically how it would normally show up is through a trigger. So it usually is something that has touched you in your studio, touched you, or that you feel some type of way about. So it's about it confirming that the experience is not congruent, or is not resonant. When that experience is not resonant or congruent, or not in line, or not aligned with who you are at your core, or the experience is showing you where you hold a belief that actually no longer serves you, or is no longer working for you. So the trigger comes and you're like, oh shit, I thought my life, I thought I was believing this, but actually my heart and my soul is telling me this. So that means that I need to change something somewhere, type of thing. But this I will touch a little bit on it in terms of in the rest of the episode. But this deserves a thing on its own, where you look at your core beliefs and you look at the feelings that come up with these core beliefs, and how you can work through these feelings to integrate them into your life and make them a part of you, so that you can accept the whole you. That's another topic for another day. Those are actually quite a few topics for a few days. But yeah, for now, I just wanted to give you just a brief little breakdown of okay, how can I get to know myself? The first thing that you need to do is to unpack and to understand the core beliefs that you have around every single area of your life, and learning how to look at each one and unpacking what the belief is. If the belief is still fine, it stays as is. If the belief feels funky and you get triggered into a different experience, then you know that those are things that you would need to work on. So the second thing is about goal setting. So goal setting is just looking at the things that you like, or that things in your life that you want to accomplish, or that you want to win at. And basically, what are the things that tickle you? What are the things that interest you? I mean, guys, it is so important to explore all the things that bring you joy. So it's not about what society says, not what your family says, not what Instagram says, not what the general public says. You, what is tickling you and what is actually interesting you, that brings you joy, that whatever, however small it is or however insignificant it feels, you know that that's something that brings you joy. So I went about my life for the longest time not actually knowing what I liked and actually who I was. And I was actually using, a lot of the time I was using people's cues and people's opinions and perspectives to kind of validate my experience. So I was going with what other people are saying as their truth and applying that to me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with even getting opinions or advice or whatever from whoever that's around you, your elders around you, your friends that you value, you trust, and you love, people that have your best interest at heart. It's absolutely 100% to do that. But at the end of the day, they are also their own people. They come with their own perceptions. They come with their tinted glasses, their lens from their experience, and yeah, where they come from. And because everyone is an individual at the end of the day, with their individual lives and basically their individual experiences. So you need to maybe have like take things with a grain of salt, basically. So that's basically, I went through my life looking to people for cues and their perceptions and understanding of life and how to go through the issue that I'm going through. And when it came to a real head was in my marriage, where I realized that I was so focused on my ex-husband's success and his goals and his dreams and putting into that. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with supporting people, your spouse, your partner, your lover, whoever. There's nothing wrong with supporting, but it should not be to the detriment of your goals and your purpose. Because then I found myself thinking, what do I like? Like, what are my passions? What are things that are tickling me? Like, what are things that matter to me and make sense to me? And basically write a list. That's how I did it. So I just started writing a list, and it was simple things. I was like, listen to good music, have incense burning in my house, buy myself flowers, dancing, going to the gym, walking and hiking, eating good food. And as I did drawing, painting, as I wrote down this list, even now, just retrospecting on it, I've done all the things that are on that list, and most of those things are still there because they still excite me. So write a list. What are the things that make you feel like, oh my gosh, these things are just bringing me so much joy? No matter how small they feel, no matter how insignificant they feel, they excite that inner child in you. And actually, talking about children, what are the things that actually excited you as a kid? You know, what are the things that you couldn't wait to do? So get your pen, get your paper out, get your recorder out, whatever way, draw it, sing it, dance it. What are the things that bring you joy, that bring you excitement, that you know that will add to your day? And it's about incorporating these things into your daily life. So I'm not saying if acting or whatever, I don't know, painting or whatever, I don't know, whatever excites you, building houses excites you, but you are stuck in your 9 to 5. I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying that even if you hate your job, whatever 9 to 5 that you're busy with, whatever hustle that you are busy with, learn to incorporate the small things that will spark that joy in your life, and keep incorporating them little by little. Don't add the whole 5 liter or 5 day thing into your schedule if you don't have that capacity. Little by little, keep incorporating these things that bring you joy, and you will find that by the end of it, that most of your life is made up of all these little moments that you put together that have now become your life and part of your lifestyle. All right, so that was number 2 in terms of goal setting and knowing exactly what actually tickles you and what makes you excited to be you, or what makes you you, what brings you joy. So that was the second one. And then the third one is about self-care. And we all know, we all know how self-care has been punted in these streets of YouTube and social media and all of that, and about, doing your hair, doing your makeup, looking pretty, doing your nails, taking nice bubble baths, going for a massage. We get all of that, and all of that is absolutely amazing. But for me, and when I look at self-care now, it's more of like a holistic thing. So it's about taking care and caring for your body, for your entire well-being, your spiritual well-being, your mental, your physical, and your emotional. So when it comes to spiritual, how is your relationship with God? How is your relationship with a higher power, something that is above you and beyond you, something that you can't even fathom? Do you have a relationship with God? How do you connect with Him? Do you pray? Do you meditate? Do you journal? Do you sing? Do you worship? Do you go to church? What do you do as a way to connect with Him? Are you reading any holy books? Any holy texts? Are you part of a community of like-minded people where you share the same beliefs, and you know that you'll be edified and you'll be uplifted, and you'll just have the community, that support of people that are on the same journey and same trajectory as you? People that can pour into you, and vice versa, you can pour into them as well. Do you have that kind of community? And then when it comes to mental, what are you feeding your mind? What lives rent-free? What lives rent-free in your mind? And are you including something in your life that is different from the reality shows that you're watching, from the movies, the series that you watch consistently? Are you adding podcasts like personal development or spiritual podcasts, or that speak to psychology, or speak about how you can be a better human being? How are you keeping your mind fresh and scintillating and just alive? And how are you doing that? Through learning. Are you learning something new in your life? I don't know, dancing, sewing, baking, riding a bike, building a table, making money, learning a language. There's so much that you can learn to actually keep your brain alive, And it's just about increasing your capacity to learn something new. And this alone, in terms of your mental well-being, will give your life so much richness and texture. And it's also a great conversation starter. And you get to these places if you into meeting new people, and you have something to talk about, and that could lead down a whole rabbit hole of other interesting conversations that you wouldn't have had if you aren't pouring into yourself, and learning something new about yourself and just about the world around you. And then when it comes to physical, guys, I'm going to say this a lot because you've seen me do it now, but move your bodies, guys. Please learn how to move your bodies. And it doesn't have to be strenuous. It really, really does not have to be strenuous. Like a 20-minute walk 3 times a week, a 10-minute stretching video on YouTube, or those are the ones that give me joy. What activities do you find joy in? I don't know. Is it dancing? Is it Zumba? Is it walking a dog? It could be rollerblading. It literally could be anything that gets you excited. And it's about moving that stagnant energy around. It's about making your body flow, letting your organs and your cells be invigorated and regenerate, Get them moving again. Give your body a chance to feel alive and to be alive. And it's also so important to listen to your body. Like, do you rest? Do you sleep? And those are two very different things, rest and sleep. Sleep, are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough Z's in your night? Do you have a consistent pattern of I'm going to sleep from these hours and I'm going to sleep from this time to that time? And yeah, do you have a consistent sleep routine? Are you resting? When you are tired, you are tired. When you are tired, you are tired. You must learn to listen to your body. Do you need a bath? Do you need to eat a nutritious meal? Do you need to talk to a friend? Do you need to just veg out in front of the TV and watch a series because you have done the most that week? Do you need to move your body? Start paying attention to what your body is saying. This is also another episode that I'm very excited that I'm going to share with you soon. But it's about learning to listen to your intuition and how to actually work with your body to learn to listen to your body when it shows you or cues you when something is good or something is not so good, or whatever the case is, but just to be able to pay attention to your emotions, to your intuition. And are you eating well? Are you eating, period? Are you remembering to eat? Are you remembering that you need to feed your body? And basically taking care of your bodies, guys, it's so important to take care of your body because he or she will take care of you. When you learn to take care of your body will learn, well, not learn, but your body already knows. Your body already warns you and tells you. But basically, if you take care of your body will multiply that in taking care of you. And the fourth one, in terms of your well-being, emotional well-being. And as I said before, this deserves an episode of its own. But this ties in again with the understanding and unpacking of the core beliefs in my point one. And basically, it's the trigger that shows up in a situational thing. And what usually comes up is usually an emotion and a feeling. So it's about paying attention to that feeling for as long as it needs to stay in the body. Now, I know when I say that it sounds really scary. I know it sounds hella scary. But I know you will feel like you would rather die. I would do anything else than to feel this feeling that I'm feeling now. Feeling of pain, feeling of sorrow, of disappointment, of that hurt, that rejection, that resentment, any of these feelings that feel super heavy, and it feels like you are going to die, like you're not going to get through this if you feel this pain or feel this feeling. But at the end of the day, it's about acknowledging it. It's about sitting with it. It's about allowing it to do what it needs to do in the body. I promise you guys, it's about going through it to get through it. You have to go through it to get through it. You have to go through it. You have to feel the feeling and accept the feeling that's coming up. The more you resist it, the more it's just going to keep getting stored in your body, and the more it's just going to just keep piling up and piling up. That's why a lot of us are stiff and we feel rigid and our bodies just feel like heavy. We're not releasing the emotions. The more that we get in touch with releasing the emotion is the more lighter we will feel in our bodies and actually reveal the real depth of who we are. And in this time, while you're going through the motions of this, of goal setting, of unpacking these core beliefs, of looking at your emotions and sitting with your emotions, it's important, guys, that you look at yourself, that you don't look at yourself with shame, with guilt, or resentment of how you can allow that to happen to yourself. There is two ways, and again, this does definitely need an episode of its own, but feel the feeling of shame, of guilt, So feel the feeling of whatever that you're feeling, the hurt, the anger, the resentment, the disappointment, the defeat, whatever feeling that you're feeling, feel that. But then you also need to come and acknowledge the guilt, shame, and resentment or embarrassment or whatever that comes with that. Feel that feeling too. Don't identify with it. Feel it. That's it. That's all you have to do. Just feel the feeling. Again, episode, it will come, I promise. But it's about feeling your feelings, whatever the emotion that comes up. Feel it for however long that it comes up in your body. But what I'm saying is that don't then punish yourself or be hard on yourself when you're going through this process and maybe it's not going smoothly or it's not going as fast as you want it to go. I mean, there are plenty of tools that we can unpack, especially when you go into feeling your feelings. There's a lot of tools and a lot of tricks, not tricks, but basically tips on how to feel your feelings and basically on how to rewire your nervous system and your brain and how to rewire your thinking and your beliefs and your mindsets about certain things. Yeah, and basically in all of this, guys, please show yourself some grace. The inner critic can run amok. It can have a field day with claws out, with nails out. Hold yourself, guys. Like literally hold yourselves. Hold yourselves. Be present with yourself. Show yourself you care. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And this takes time, guys. This takes time, so please be patient with yourself. Please show yourself love. You will feel like giving up. I know. I'm there a lot. You feel like giving up, but this work is important for you to actually be the best version of yourself and show up as the version that you know that you are deep inside, that you know you want to show up as. And yeah, happy finding yourselves and happy getting to know yourselves. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining me again, and I cannot wait to bring you more and more episodes. I love you so much. See you next time.